Actually, in the first book, Resting Place Phoenix, it talks about the place where a bunch of college students come together and they go through college and they have their degrees, doctorate, and they have their teaching. They came out seeking careers that they have been trained to do, but their culture where they were was that they were of a certain expectation to take on the laborer's position, but they were trained for more, and they were frustrated, and they wanted to find a place of rest where I can be who God has called me to be. So they decided to move, all of them, to a place, and they build, and this is like years and years, like 30, 40 years ago. They went out to a land called Maryland in the woods, and they built a place. And when they had a town form, they were saying, well, this is my place of rest. This is my resting place. And people would say, well, where this place is? And they said, resting place. And after they started building up structures like schools and stores and hospitals, they named the town Resting Place.
So how did they foster, and this is a place, and I really believe that there is analogy, just take a step out on a limb here, probably not too big of a step, but there's really an analogy to how God would want us to see one another and how he sees us as believers as one, regardless of our racial and cultural differences. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about a place where people can grow and function together, and the expectations are not put on someone artificially, but there's a sense of being built on that particular worldview that people are viewed from the standpoint of their identity, mm-hmm. of who God has called them to
right.
be.
Yes. You're absolutely right. It is built on the premise that you are valued, that there's excellence in you, and that we can grow from one another. We can support one another, and that's what it's about. Friends supporting friends, regardless of their nationality, regardless of their past. Some, and even in this book, Resting Place, Deja Vu, there's a girl who's been labeled, and she is ostracized because of past mistakes, who finds forgiveness and wholeness in this group of people that are the Weston family. So it's a good place.
Mary Beasley is joining us today here on the Meeting House on Faith Radio, talking about the Resting Place series. This is the Meeting House, Faith Radio Meeting House Media Central at the Christian Product Expo Fall 2020 show in Delaware. Well, Mary, when you establish a place like this, essentially a place of refuge, a place of rest, mm-hmm. where people can accept one another despite their differences, let's face it, you're dealing with human beings here. So so while someone might look at this as maybe a utopia, mm-hmm. nevertheless, there are the tensions and conflicts, the pressures, the challenges of human relationships. So mm-hmm. how does that manifest, or those things manifest themselves in Resting Place?
And they do, because you're right. We are in the real world. Yeah. But it also gives us hope that we are part creators of that world. The people in this book make decisions every day to choose how they will interact, the choices they make